It's still good morning, Anambra, and we are delighted to be here. I told you that we have more coming up on the show. Now, if you look at the contemporary society, we can see a lot of anger, we can see a lot of aggressions here and there, conflicts here and there, trials and troubles here and there. And this morning we will try to look at how we can actually protect or stop aggression against our children during times of conflict. We have conflicts in the family, we have conflicts in a larger society. Now, in all this, can we actually protect these kids? If yes, how best do we do it? In the studio this morning, I have Comrade Michael Opia, who is an Executive Director, Center for Development and Civic Education. Good to have you in the studio, Sir Mike Opia.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
All right, before we actually go into the topic proper, could you let us into your office? What exactly do you do at Center for Development and Civic Education?
Okay, Center for Development and Civic Education is a non-governmental organization.
Okay.
And we are committed to promoting good governance, participatory democracy, and sustainable development. That's our area of, our core area of interest. And over the years, the NGO was registered in 1999, and we've done a lot. We're also into poverty reduction, microcredit administration, working with cooperative societies, and especially women to assist them in getting small cash for their businesses. And that is what we are doing. Currently, we are looking into environmental issues too, because climate change has become key into everything we do, and for that to for us to factor it into our core areas of competence to address the issues of climate change and environmental problems we have. That is the area, Center for Development. We are currently also involved in consultancy, working with...
and equally develop kids as well?
Yes.
Younger ones.
Younger ones, child rights issues. These are the areas we...
All right, now you are a father, and you are here with us. I don't know how you would, how do you see the level of aggression in the land, the level of conflict in our society today? How would you, describe it?
Now, if we are to... Yesterday I was discussing with a colleague about the Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart.
All right.
And I said I wished I could resurrect Chinua Achebe to situate that theme and what is happening in Nigeria today. The center
can no longer hold.
Things have fallen apart and center can no longer hold. And if you look at it, the first victim to this are children. Because the crisis affects parents. The crisis affects teachers, affects everybody in the society. And like our people will say, oh, this adage in Ebola and this in ọkụ dakwasị gị dakwasị nwa iku n'aka ibu ụzọ tichepụ ọkụ dị n'aka before you tichepụ nke dakwasị nwa gị. This is just what is happening. The parents are under pressure. The society is under pressure. So self-interest takes place. So before now the situation is that everything has gotten so bad that the children are at the receiving end. And this got worsened by the so much carefree attitude by our parents, because the primary area of children protection is their family. And you can see that most younger parents these days are not as conscious as we were in those days. I use we because I no longer have children. I have men in my house. I don't have women. I have only men, armies in my family, in my house. So, for example, there was a day in my compound here I kept on quarreling with the young parents there. Bringing up your child is not only to buy food and pay school fees. What attention do you give to your children? Lock up the gates, you don't. And I was telling them in Oka here, when they say hi and I pick my phone and I jump the gate, I won't look back because there's no child with me there. But some of you have 4, 5 children, and you don't care about the, number one, protection of the interests of these children. You see, so these are issues that are affecting the upbringing of our children these days, and the conflict, the general conflict in the society, economic conflicts, political conflict, insecurity, and everything. And look at what happened in St. Teresa Catholic Church. Look, I saw children battered on ground, and I begin to. And at that situation, what can a parent do when a parent is even struggling for his or her own life, and the children? The situation, things have really fallen apart, and the center is not holding at all, and that's the children are the receiving end.
Okay, now, from the picture you just painted, where is the protection supposed to start?
Like I said, the primary position and the starting point for the protection of the children is the family. Okay? The parents have it as a primary responsibility of protecting their children. First of all, you brought these children to the world. And as a father or a mother, your number one commitment will be to protect these children. Take care of them in terms of taking them to school, sending them to school, taking care of their health, clothing them, feeding them. These are the responsibility of the children. But for me, the number one thing is making sure that these children are safe. Because if you provide them with that safety net, you find out that other things will follow.
What happens when the conflict is from the home? You've talked about the larger society. What will happen to the child when the conflict is from his home?
Now, this is even the main issue, because many families are not. I was watching a video clip in my WhatsApp yesterday about one of the ministers and instructing the wife who could not see her children for 2 years. Okay, and when eventually the peace was brokered and she was allowed to see her children, I saw how the children were behaving. They, as if nobody existed before that moment. For children of 5, 8 years, not able to see their mother for 2 years, and the mother is alive, and they know that somebody protected them or prevented them from seeing their mother. That type of psychological torture. And when they saw their mother, both the mother and children were whooping for joy for having met each other after 2 years. This is the problem of crisis in the family. And when there is crisis in the family, the mother rarely does what it's supposed to do in protecting the children. The father nearly does what he's supposed to do in protecting the children. So that is why I'm also particularly concerned about the family upbringing in our society. Fortunately, I'm also a trained and certified marriage counselor. And when I keep on telling people around me about your responsibility in taking care and preventing these children from witnessing these conflicts at that tender age. Look at what happens in northern Nigeria. When Deborah was killed and they started this riot and the rest of them, you see the rapidity with which children, turn 9 years, coming out for destruction, for burning and the destruction. Because there is no family protection. There is no family upbringing. There's no moral inculcated in them. And these are the source of the society we are going to have if we don't take care in the near future. A society where children are no longer have human feeling, because nobody taught them that they are human beings. That the first responsibility of a man in the society is to protect himself and protect his neighbor. But what we are seeing now, if care is not taken, we are bringing up people. Whoever think that in Anambra State somebody will kill somebody and be cutting the person's neck happily and be playing with the head. Adibo man, Onyibo, in Anambra State. I can't imagine it. But when it happened, we say Nandia Bro Anambra, but it's unfolding that some of them are people. So that is the extent the failure of the family system has brought to our children.
All right, there's this saying by the former governor of Anambra State that the society we abuse today, or the children we abuse today, will take revenge on us tomorrow. Now, one begins to ask, when these children are exposed to conflicts or troubles or whatever, aggression, what effect do you think this will have, on them as children and, of course, as they grow up tomorrow to become adults?
Okay. As children, they've lost sense of humanity. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
What they now see, if it is a father that bullies and beats up the wife, the male children there will see it as a way of life. That is, one thing good is to beat your wife when you get married and later, because you see some of these violent men, I don't know whether they are doing it under influence of external influence, or that some of us have so degenerated to the level of animal that you are beating your wife, that two of you slept in the same bed, have children together, you are beating her as if you are beating a criminal. You see, you begin to see, and if you watch the age bracket of people who do under 40, and you begin to see the trend, dangerous trend we're having. In the olden days, you can hardly see a man, even if you are, when you have, for those who can raise their hands against women, you build them like a child. But now you see a man with all his energy, you whine it and then he hit the woman. The woman is on the ground, you still hit him. No. See, that's the part of the problem we are getting to. So, for a child to have lost his sense of humanity, the sense of morality at that age, and is growing up and seeing this type of violence as a trend of life, when in the future, like I said before, we are in trouble. For those, if I look at my children and look at these younger ones, I say, I pity you people. Because what I'm seeing in the next 20, 30 years is terrible, unless the society will retrace and bring morality and sanity into our family life, the society. Because when the family is in disarray, when the family has no bearing, there's no way the society will have bearing. There's no way the society will have a peace. The conflict we are witnessing today is part of failure of the family system. I gave you an example of where one person will have 28 children, 30 children, and he has no care about them. Even the primary responsibility of feeding the children, they line up in the street and beg. And when there's any move to cause destruction, you see them like flies. Those 9, 12, 15-year children will grow up tomorrow to be 30, 40, and you can imagine what they can do as adults in this type of in promotion of this type of conflict. So it's a very bleak future we have, unless something is radically done at this moment. Okay,
now from what you just said, the society, or what we are witnessing today, is as a result of exposing these young ones to aggression and conflicts, both from the family and the larger society. Okay, now let's use our country as an example. In Nigeria, for instance, do you see what is happening? Do you see it as something that could be contained?
Yes. I do not want to sound so pessimistic, because I keep on saying, if we retrace our step, we're going to be okay. And that's why those of us that are marriage counselors, these young parents that are coming up of family formation, I don't spare them when I'm in marriage class. Because they are, in fact, I was working day before yesterday in Aroma Junction, and that this girl, less than 3 years, and the mother with a leggy and spaghetti, and telling a child of 3, also boss of Buffalo Main Road. What is wrong with your hand? Are you okay? No, I can't you hold it in a room as busy as it is. Kina gone 3 years to Buffalo. Makagini. What type of mother are you? These are the issues we are witnessing. Okay? So, those of us that are parents, start from the beginning to retrain your children, because when an irresponsible mother gives or father gives a birth to a child, how can you expect that child to be responsible? Because it's what you have that you give. So we parents now at this level that can decipher the good from the bad, will be able to train our children, the adolescents, those about to get married, and what parenting is all about. So that if they inculcate that and train their children the way we are trained, then we will begin to see stable society as we go on. But if not, it's not done, I don't know. Because I used to tell my son, he's about 30 years and thinking of, I said, I never saw my father raise his hand on my mother. And I don't think there's any devil, even if Lucifer begin to walk in this, that I will raise my hand against my wife. Because that is what I saw my father do. And I don't think you will also raise your hand against your wife, because you never saw me at the age of 30. You never saw me raise my hand against your mother. So that trend, if you can bring back those trends, and we begin to have hope for our future. And I think there's hope. And so those of us like you and I will be able to train our children, give them that sense that family is the bedrock for society. If you want our society to go haywire, leave your children and your family to go haywire.
All right, the program is still Good Morning Anambra, stopping aggression against children during times of conflicts. And this program is audience participatory. Let me inform you that there is a phone line on your screen. You can call us, or you go to our Facebook page to drop your comment right now, so we can get it out and read out what you have contributed. So make your own input with the number on your screen. I still have Mike Opia in the studio discussing stopping aggression against children during times of conflict. Let's go for a short break. We'll return after now.
But sometimes it's especially
if your children have erred in a way or the other, draw him or her close. That's what we call parental advice. Chidi, this thing you did is wrong. I wouldn't want you to do it next time. This is how you draw them closer than beating them. If you notice that a friend's daughter or a son is on the road hawking for one thing or the other, and you saw that person, you can assuade that person. Your support financially can go a long way. It mustn't be the parents of that child. You understand? As a family, as a relative, as a friend, you could also invest into that person's life.
We know the country, it's not so favorable economically, but I also want to advise that we should take care of these children. We should understand that they are the parents' responsibilities. The children are not responsible to the parents. They ought to be catered for and made provisions for. So it's really abusing the children, sending them on the streets for them to hawk. It's really uncalled for. You are really exposing them to lots of dangers. Now the child could be raped. The child could be involved in accidents. Things like that. The parents should map out other strategies to really correcting a child. You could you could also punish the child, withdraw something from the child, not always hitting the child, because the child is not an animal. Over time, the child gets used to being beaten. That's the worst my mother can do. She will flog me, and that's really not nice.
By teaching them the word of God, advising them, counseling them, then occasionally you flog them. We should start arresting those kids so that their parents will come out and pay fine. And the heavy fine for that matter, so that next time they will not.
Onwe nke eji okwu ọnụ wee correct ya and o nwekwara na ka ihe etibie ife ahụ ọ na-atụzi gị ụjọ onwe ihe medo n'ụlọ ma ngwarụ maka na ọ gwaghị igbu onye.
All right, we've heard from the masses. Of course, they shared their own view concerning the topic, how to stop aggression against children during times of conflict. Now, before we get to that, Mike, I was asking how we got to this level, because raising children during our own time is not as what we are seeing today. There is a big gap, especially in negative trends. I was asking, how did we get here?
Okay, it is very clear how we got here, because the difference, if you look at it, the difference in this trend is very clear. Young parents of these days believe more in making money than bringing up their children in a proper way so that they become responsible citizens. Now, the conflict that has enveloped our children these days is because, for me, a failure of the family system, especially in this young generation. So we are here because the parents have lost the sense of responsibility for their children. We are here also because when we talk about this conflict, after talking about the family stage, you talk about the school system. How responsible are our teachers these days? How committed? What is their passion?
And how passionate?
In taking care of the children entrusted in them. Because when they leave their family, the next stage of molding these children is the school. How passionate they are in taking care of them. There was this story of a kindergarten school whereby they leave an old woman that hardly walks to take care of about 30 children, small children. So what he does is to add some sleeping pills to the account he will give the children. And all of them will take and they sleep off until around 2, 3 when their parents will come. What has he taught those children? But if you say there's an elder woman that does it, give those children to these adolescents, the youth of 8 to 25 years, to take care of these children at that level. My dear, you will see the worst thing. But they may even dress to school naked, and the children will learn that dressing naked is the best thing. So we are here principally because the family system has failed. Secondly, the educational system that's supposed to be the secondary stage of taking care of these children has also failed. Now, let's also talk about the government, because government is supposed to supervise what the teachers do in school, whether private or public. Okay? Now, look, in Anambra State, you have a child right law. Thank God it is operational now, but we have not implemented what that child right law said. And I think the current Commissioner for Women Affairs should take note of this. Bring up this law, read it, and see the role of government in preventing our children in this type of conflict. Because if I've gone through that law, if the government should take responsibility as enshrined in that law, most of these, some are even saying about if you see these children that are hawking, arrest them and let their parents come and pay fine. It's part of the provision. Child hawking is outlawed in our child right law. But who is implementing it? So the government, the school system, and the parents have to come up to their responsibilities, because that is how we got here. Every segment of the safety net we have in society has failed. And that's why we find ourselves.
Okay, now you said there is we have a feature, you know, when we do what we are supposed to do. But now, like the incident of Owo yesterday, those parents or those elders in that church could not protect those children at that point. So is it all the conflict or aggressions that could be, you know, stopped against the children? So in that situation, what can one do?
No, if you look at the cause of such conflicts, terrorism, banditry in Nigeria, one can trace it to the failure of the family system. I gave you an example of people miling on the street without anybody carrying them, children brought up into this world by human beings, but they don't take care of them. So those children are open for recruitment, this type of crisis, what happened in our yesterday. So if government can stop this banditry, this terrorism, and that's why one of the presidential candidates keep on saying, my commitment is education, education, and education. Nobody doubts that education is the system, is the only way to retrace our step back, this type of thing. Well, most people that does this clean, even in Anambra State, look at them, they all drop out. They're all school dropouts. Is either their parents didn't take good care of them and they are dropout. Well, I can't imagine a graduate, even though there's no job, and a graduate who has gone through normal educational system, you may not have job, but you will try to secure a good job. You will hardly be recruited into this type of criminality and cannibalistic behavior that is never known in our blood system. So this education is very, very important. If educate our people, and somebody was telling me, I was watching a video clip on a bridge built under water in America as I was coming, and that person was talking about education, education, education is the key. Educate your children. Education does not mean A plus A or ABCD. No. The value system, our value system has collapsed because nobody takes care of it anymore. And the result is that children that has no value system. I used to tell my son when he was going for youth service in Kano, I said, tell me 3 of the value system of this family. Tell me value system. Because we are 6, our father has. If somebody calls me and tells me my younger brother has stolen somewhere, he is in Delta State, I'll tell him, go and check, it's not him. Can families stand and inculcate this type of value system strong? If you have a strong value system, hardly can a peer group pressure derail you. So the family, I keep on saying, the family, because that's where foundation is built. When you have that strong foundation, you will never derail.
All right. Apart from because I think you have started answering the question of ways to stop aggression against children during times of conflict. What other ways? What other things do we have to do in order to stop aggression against our children in times of conflict? Okay.
Like I said, I gave example of Anambra State government that has a child right law. That child right law, if properly implemented, covers all these segments of what we are doing. Because apart from family playing their role, the state, the government itself, has the overall responsibility to make sure that children brought up in that system will be responsible, are protected from. What we're talking about in times of conflict like this, where nobody. I was driving today, coming. The whole of the busy aroma was scanty. Nobody was there because everybody is afraid of what happens if it comes out. Now, children at home. If the parents are not in, when the children are supposed to be in school, what do you expect? Fighting and conflicts. Okay, so the government should play their role properly let's ignite this law, child right law in Anambra State, and let every segment play their role. Let the parents come back to the table and start inculcating the value, our value system into their children. And you see things coming back to normal. And we can now think of a better future for our children. Otherwise, it's a wood.
All right, thank God that there is a future when we do or when we play our role the way we ought to play.
And we have the ability,
okay.
we have the wherewithal to do that. What we're now trying is to bring the awareness to our parents, bring the awareness and let our government do what they're supposed to do. Let the school system do what they're supposed to do. Everything will come back to normal.
So all hands should be on deck. The family, the society, system, the school, everybody.
Everybody.
Okay, thank you so much, Mike Opia, for your time this morning. Thank you so much. We appreciate your coming.
You're welcome.
And that's just about it on the Good Morning Anambra show today. Thank you for being a part of it. Tomorrow is another day. Bye for now.